Hello, everybody. This is Tetrafolium for here for my week 3 game. Pretty excited about this one. As you know, if you've been watching the other videos, I'm 1-1 right now. I'm going up against an opponent who is currently 2-0. So uh, I can climb my way back up the rankings if I can manage to get a win here, and also take somebody down. It's like crabs in a bucket, you know? That's what rankings are like. Um, anyway, uh, let's get into explaining this team here. So we have Vulcan. This time I'm running a choice scarf instead of a life orb, which is like the quintessential item of Landorus. Um, you may ask why. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I need some speed control. Cinderace is outsped by two Pokemon on this team, Kilowattrel and Meowscarada. Um, while I kind of feel good about Cinderace handling Meowscarada, I don't really feel great about it having to handle Meowscarada and Kilowattrel. So, um, I wanted to get some more speed on this team. So Lando was my pick because it just does really well with its coverage and also with its U-turn, which is really nice. These niche moves on these Pokemon that you don't usually see can sometimes be really good in draft. Like this U-turn can get me a lot of momentum. And because I know what the team is, I know what I can do to have good pivoting situations. But as for my coverage moves, Sledge Wave is just one of the more how should I say, like the more reliable moves because it doesn't miss. And it's also just probably the best move I have to hit Clefable. If Clefable's not running us like selling out completely on the Spadef, I think I 2-hit KO. If it is, then I could be in trouble. It could Ice Beam if that's the wave. But that kind of is what it is. As for Focus Blast, I believe that I picked this mostly to hit Quillfish. Sorry, not Quillfish. Mostly to hit Iron Treads if it was on a balloon, or if it used like Magnet Rise. I think it gets Magnet Rise, just in case. It's also a pretty good click into Meowscarada if I need it. Frankly, it was kind of hard to find another move that made sense here. Like Psychic doesn't really hit anything that hard. Yeah, it hits Iron Moth pretty hard, except for the fact that I have Earth Power, which hits it doubly hard. Well, actually triply hard because of stab boost. Anyway, so Focus Blast is just if I have to click a fourth move, I guess it would be Focus Blast. Hopefully I never have to click it. Speaking of our inaccurate moves that we hate to see so much, here's Venus. A little bit of redemption last week for Venus. We'll hope that our streak continues. We've got Pyro Ball, which is the one of the moves in question. I don't have the other move in question being Zen Headbutt on me this week, so that's good. And just kind of standard, kind of bulky pivot Cinderace. I've got a lot of HP investment. The 100 attack, I think that's that puts no defense Iron Treads away, and it also I think allows me to 2-hit KO Pokemon like Latias and Kilowattrel. Not every single variance of those Pokemon, but enough to do what we need to do. And then I have Court Change because I don't want webs to go up on my side. Webs would be pretty bad. I mean, not the worst thing in the world, actually. It would really only hurt my Florges. Rhyperior is already pretty slower than anything that I'm expecting to come. But if I can put court change webs onto their side of the field, then that might help me out in cases where, like, I don't know, maybe I'm up against a Scarf Iron Moth and I need Landorus to be able to outspeed to do something. That maybe could change that whole scenario around. Maybe the Meowscarada or the Quillfish comes in and uses spikes, which would be that would be a pretty big deal for my team. I don't want to take a bunch of spikes damage on Empoleon and Rhyperior. Um, yeah, so court change is probably just about as good as we can do for a move. So we'll take it. Empoleon is here to be a specially defensive tanky boy. I do have some defense investment. I'm trying to recall what I put that on for. I think it might have been for a Meowscarada roll. I think it's to guarantee live 2 Flower Tricks from a max attack Meowscarada. I don't know how it does against Iron Treads, really, because I think it lives most unboosted Earthquakes, so that could be good. I've got Ice Beam as my coverage move because there are a few ice-weak Pokemon on this team, namely Kilowattrel, Latias, and Meowscarada. I don't know if I want to stay in and click an ice move on Kilowattrel necessarily, but it is a good move to hit Meowscarada, especially if it goes for Flower Trick and stays as a Grass type. And it's also, just a good move to hit into Latias, who Neptune here is probably going to be the primary switch in to. We can get our competitive boosts off, maybe, if they go for a lot of Mist Ball action. That could be good. It's also our rocker, which is another good thing to note. Saves me having to take up a move slot on Landorus or Rhyperior, so that's always welcome. I may not have to put rocks up. Maybe my opponent will put the rocks up for me, and I'll just court change them. That's a possibility. So, yeah, we'll see. Next, we have Florges. So I've got Moonblast, Calm Mind, Synthesis, and Psychic Noise. A set that I very commonly run is Synthesis plus Wish. I forwent Wish on this particular Florges because I think Psychic Noise is going to give me a little more value. Being able to click it into another, like a Calm Minding Latias would be good. Being able to click it on Clefable can help me 1v1 Clefable. And also, if I can catch Iron Moth on a switch in with it, it's my best move to hit Iron Moth. So it's just solid all around, I think, as an option. The other moves, I hope I don't have to explain those. This is the Florges bread and butter. We have 56 speed EVs, which puts us faster than it puts us at 200 base speed, right? So what does that put us faster than? I believe that we are faster than uninvested base 80s, maybe? I don't, or it's faster than something on my team that I thought might be a speed tier worth being faster than. I cannot recall exactly what it was. Maybe it's like 252 Hariyama or something like that, or Rhyperior. It's, I can't give away all my secrets, right? If I can't remember them, they must not be that important. Anyway, Tellus, it's been coming to a lot of matches, it seems, and I can't really blame myself for bringing it. It's such a good Terra Captain. I've got Assault Vest, Terra Flying with Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod obviously doesn't matter at all if I don't Terra, but I'm probably going to Terra the Rhyperior, and if I do, I want to be a type that does not have to worry so much about the ground moves of Iron Treads, and particularly has a flying type move to hit all of Meowscarada, Araquanid. I mean, that's mainly it, but you know, those are still two mons I think that are really worth hitting. Um, I have to be worried. I kind of have to watch out for triple axle from Meowscarada. I'm not gonna die to one, um, but that can put me in a pretty nasty spot. So I'll have to keep an eye on the calcs there. I have enough attack on this Rhyperior that Heavy Slam is gonna two-hit KO Clefable, I believe. Um, we also have a Rock Slide that will knock out Iron Moth if it's uninvested. Obviously, Earthquake will do a lot more, but if I can put myself in a situation where I can click Rock Slide to mid-ground a switch to, like, say, Kilowattrel, then we're in a really good spot, I'd say. Um, and then finally, we have Drifblim, Jupiter, who's running a very strange set. It's kind of like the Blissey set from this particular generation, where you invest in a defense and special defense instead of investing in one of your defenses and HP. The reason being, Driftblim has such a high HP stat that putting extra EVs into it doesn't change the rolls that much. So I would rather have good mixed defensive stats um, than uh, whatever uh, than whatever we would minusculely get for putting up the HP. There we go. That's how I want to put it. I've got 16 attack and an adamant nature. I believe that after the Colberberry procs, acrobatics is two-hit KOing a max. I think it's either max defense or 252 HP Meowscarada. Um, I mean, that's also kind of presupposing that it's not Protean, that it's going to stay a grass type. So maybe it doesn't really matter that much, but the points going to special defense didn't really change that many rolls to be in my favor. I mean, I'd be slightly more likely to live two fiery dances from Iron Moth, but I'm still probably going to die to it, and also discharge if that comes is a lot stronger into me. I mean, I guess not if I Terra fighting, but I digress. Um, so the other moves, defog, just in case we have a situation where I can't get my court change off with Cinderace, or I do get my court change off, and then the hazards go back up on my side. Now we're both hazarded out, and I don't want that, so we'll just defog them away. Strength Sap is really good into mons like Iron Treads, mostly Iron Treads. This is a potential spin blocker for me if I manage to get the webs up or spikes up, and then I can go to Drifblim to block a spin. You got to be thinking about things like this if you're gonna want to win. Uh, keeping your hazards up can be a big game changer, and especially if they're not even my hazards, if they're my opponent's hazards that they so graciously set up for me. Um, not that I don't think that my opponent's going to do anything like super crazy as long as Cinderace has an opportunity to court change, but I digress. Thunderwave here, so Burn would be great for mons like Meowscarada or Iron Treads that I am basically trying to bait in and uh, get my status off on it. I mean, yeah, I don't really hit Iron Treads that well anyway. But Thunderwave is really good into things like Latias, Iron Moth, and Meowscarada that I could then outspeed with. I think Florges would outspeed some of them. Rhyperior probably not, but it also will neutralize any form of Choice Scarf. That might be present. Empoleon may outspeed some of them as well. I'll be honest, I don't have every single paralyzed speed tier in my mind. I'm just going to assume that most of my guys will appreciate the Thunder Wave going off on something. I think a little more than like going for a burn on Clefable or Latias, if those are the switch-ins for my Driftblim. Terra Fighting, it's kind of just if we need it as a get out of ice weakness free card. Um, it's not much better than if I went like if I went electric, but I thought if I went electric, then I would be like really weak to Iron Tread. So um, kind of thought fighting might be a little better. Flying is not going to help because I just don't want to be flying or ice weak. It might help for my acrobatics damage if that's a thing, but we'll just have to see how it goes. In any case, that's the team, and we will see you for the battle. Okay, here we are into the battle. So one Pokemon that I thought might would come is Clefable. I didn't know if where it would slot in, maybe over Araquanid, but that's why I mentioned options that I had for Clefable because I really did think it would be an option. Um, I mean, thinking about it now, my team does match up pretty well into Clefable. Granted, like Hydreigon wouldn't, and if Hydreigon came, um, especially if I was like Scarf Hydreigon to make sure that I'm faster than Latias, I'd be in a pretty good spot. Um, no, there are not that many Dark Pulse switch-ins here, but I digress. We picked the mons that we did for the reasons that we did, and we're just gonna have to accept that. Um, in any case, the rest of these mons, I definitely thought what might come, and I had options for almost all of them. I mean, Iron Moth, I was kind of just like, eh. Landorus is a revenge kill. Hopefully that does it for us, and or maybe Rhyperior can kill it. I don't know. We'll see what we do here. I'm pretty sure that I lead Cinderace. I mean, I do these reviews sometimes a few days after, so I don't remember everything. But I think I'm going to lead Cinderace here. That's probably what I would do right now. And that's exactly what I do. And I U-turn out on the Araquanid. I'm not trying to take a liquidation. So I go to my Empoleon Neptune. I have the Rocky Helmet. Gets a little bit of chip there. That's a really good turn one for me. I went for Roost. Reason being, I did not know if we'd be getting Meowscarada or Iron Treads or whoever else to switch in, and I just figured if I can get back to full HP and then do an appropriate pivot on whatever comes in, that's probably the best thing that I can do. Meowscarada comes in, which I know I can live a Flower Trick pretty easily. In fact, it's going to do less than half, which tells me that it's not banded. That's the only one that would do more than half. I went for Surf. Reason being, I thought maybe Iron Moth would be a switch, or maybe back to Araquanid to scout for Ice Beam. And I didn't want to reveal Ice Beam if I wasn't certain that I was going to hit the Meowscarada. Had I went for Ice Beam instead, it probably would have done about twice the damage and had a chance to freeze, so my chances to win this game would have went up quite a bit if I went for Ice Beam. You know, got a 2-hit KO, you're probably going to have to, about a 2-hit KO, you're probably going to have to switch. Or you're going to have to trade, which is not fantastic for you. But I went for Surf. That's kind of the end all be all of it. So they go for Spikes. That's interesting because if I went for Roost or if I went for Ice Beam onto Meowscarada, then we'd be in a really interesting situation. But I decided to go to Cinderace because I figured that it was safe into a Flower Trick. And it would be a decent option for if there's a switch out. We see a switch out to Iron Treads, who is booster speed. I go for Pyro Ball because I figure, well, I'm in pretty safely against Meowscarada. I'll take a non-stab knock off or whatever it has pretty well, and I'm threatening it just a straight up KO with Pyro Ball. Plus, it's a really good move to click into whatever switches in because Arachnid's going to get 2-hit KO'd. Iron Moth will take it pretty well, but you know that's still chip that matters. And then I guess Latios would take it okay as well. But yeah, Iron Treads comes in, and that's the perfect target to hit because it's down to 94, or it takes 94 down to 6%, and Sucker Punch is an easy kill. So I could have went for Sucker Punch here. That would have probably done about 50, maybe a little more. It depends on how defensive the Kilowattrel is. If it's not like really any, which I don't expect it to be a lot, it would that Dark type Sucker Punch would do a lot. But I didn't want to get Thunder Waved. I didn't want to open up the door for like, I don't know, like a Terra Water Terra Blast. They just go for U-turn. That would have been super effective into Landorus to Cinderace as a dark type. So I don't know how much damage it would have done. Probably not a ton, and it probably would have been really good to get that hit in on the Kilowattrel there. But again, I'm just trying to play really safe. Iron Moth comes in. I go to Driftblim. Reason being that I figured that Driftblim was the most expendable member, and I cannot afford to switch into, say, Rhyperior on an Energy Ball or Empoleon on a Discharge, or my other two Pokemon really to anything. So I figured if I'm going to sack something, I'll sack Driftblim. It is not booster special attack, which is kind of what I was calcing for when I said it's a roll to 2-hit KO here, but it is Life Orb, which does pretty much the same. It's the same boost. I did get the low roll on the first one, but I got a high roll on the second one, so I'm gonna lose Driftblim here. I believe on that turn I clicked Thunder Wave, so if Iron Moth did not get the kill on me there, I would have lowered its speed, and then we potentially have outs with Florges against it. We potentially have it getting full parrot on a turn that might matter. As this goes, I went to Rhyperior, and I went for Terra Flying because I know that I'll have enough HP to take a move from Iron Moth. And I went for Rock Slide because it kills Iron Moth and because it would be the best to hit a switch in for Arachnid. I did catch the Arachnid on switch, so that's good. Into Meowscarada. I go to Empoleon to take the triple axle and hopefully do a lot of damage to my Rocky Helmet, but it reveals to be protective pads, which is not great for me. I go for Roost just to get some HP back, and then I go into Rhyperior here. So they Terra Water, Terra Blast. So I know that means that they were expecting Rhyperior to come in, and they were also anticipating Rhyperior being Lightning Rod. If I caught them with like a Volt Switch, or which they don't have on the set obviously because they have U-turn, or potentially a Thunderbolt, it's the special attack boost is not that big a deal, but wasting that turn is really big for me. But instead they go for Terra Water, Terra Blast, and it does 23, which is not much. And it is really good that this Kilowattrel is now a water type because I can go for Earthquake and hit it. Still not super safe because Latios is there, but that is something really important to note for me. They go for U-turn, which makes a lot of sense. And I do go for Earthquake just because it's a very solid move to hit Kilowattrel if it stays in, and Meowscarada. If they went to Latios, we would be talking a little bit of a different story. I don't know exactly what I would have done, but I did have Florges and Empoleon as decent switch-ins if I got this play wrong, but I was totally fine with this. I'm going to switch to Empoleon here because I don't want to take a triple axle onto my Rhyperior. I think I still live it, but I just didn't want to take it in case I needed the HP for later. They actually predict that and go for Flower Trick, which is a good play for them. I do wonder if I stayed in Rhyperior and took that Flower Trick for not much damage and killed the Meowscarada, like how badly this endgame would go for you. Um, but I guess they identified my sort of play pattern when I was trying to play safe. Um, and I figured that even if I got this Empoleon play wrong, like sacking Empoleon is still probably fine for me. I do identify at this point that they do not have a move to hit a fire type, so Cinderace is really, really free here. Goes to Iron Moth, and I U-turn. I'll go to Rhyperior. Rhyperior is still going to take a move just fine, and my Rock Slide will kill. I do go for Rock Slide there because I think Meowscarada is now in Rock Slide range. I think that Latias, you know, we'll take a chunk from it, and Kilowattrel, I mean, it's, yeah, Earthquake was probably better, but Rock Slide was still pretty safe. 90% of the time, of course. So they go to Latias, and I choose to stay in just to see what the Latias is going to do, and it Ice Beams. So I go to Cinderace. So Cinderace has U-turn, which is going to do a lot, and I outspeed, and I can get to Florges. So I kind of anticipate that the Latias is going to switch out, so I go for Court Change here to get rid of the spike from my side of the field so that I can switch pretty freely back to Florges, and also so that the other two Pokemon that they have will be taking spike damage. But we'll see what happens here. So I go for Court Change. They go for Agility. So Agility now makes them faster than my Scarf Landorus. They go for Ice Beam, which doesn't do much. And I U-turn. So 43%. I was like, okay, that's a pretty good amount of damage. The next U-turn will kill. And then I see the weakness policy activate, and I say, uh-oh. So if this is Psychic, Psyshock, or Mist Ball, I think Florges lives all of those. But if it's stored power because of the +2 speed boost, depends on the investment from Latias, but if it was 252 special attack, this is about a 50-50 roll to kill from 95% on my particular Florges. I'm not running enough special defense to outrun that. So let's see. And I do live it with 93%. I go for Moonblast, which is also a roll, but I did not get the roll. I have to stay in here because I just like switching to save a 2 HP Florges is not worth it. With the last two Pokemon outspeeding and KOing, so I just go for Moonblast again, and obviously I get knocked out. So I go to Cinderace here, and I go for Sucker Punch immediately, and I happen to get the play right. If I go for U-turn on a turn that they go for Agility, I will kill them, and I'll get into Lando, and I'll be in a spot to win the game, most likely. But you know, if they go for stored power on and kill my Cinderace, I lose the game. So I was not willing to lose the game on turn 24, so I went for Sucker Punch. If they got me with Agility, then we get to flip how many more coins? 6 more coins. So I would rather take 6 coin flips than like try to have like big balls and click U-turn on a call out. Yeah, no. And I just get it right there, so that's really good. Then I can Sucker Punch the Meowscarada and kill it, and then in comes the Kilowattrel, and I decide that I have even if this kills me, I have a Scarf Lando in the back who's probably faster than this, and definitely forcing them to click Terra Blast Water. and I'm pretty sure that Lando will still live it because it has pretty good defenses. Um, Instead they go for Thunderbolt, which, yeah, I mean, it doesn't kill. It was their best. It was their best click into me unless they had like Thunder, which would be insane. So I just get the Sucker Punch again and get the the W there. Um, Could have been crit, I guess, and lost the Cinderace, but I would 100% win with Lando because they're either Scarf and they can't hit Lando with Thunderbolt, or they're not Scarf and outsped. So, yeah. That was a really interesting game. It could have went pretty bad there with this Latias. If they got the roll or a crit and killed Florges, and I did not get my Moonblast off, Cinderace still has rolls to kill with Sucker Punch and or can get a crit. I don't think the rolls were in my favor. It really depends on how much like HP and defense they were running. I'm guessing based on this damage to Florges that they were probably pretty high on special attack, not maxed. And that's Cinderace would be able to do this. I did find out after the game from talking to my opponent that they were exactly 212 with a plus nature in special attack. They did not tell me what the rest of their set was. I don't know. I assume they were running some speed, and I assume that they were running some bulk. Some bulk, I still have rolls for Sucker Punch to kill. So yeah, and with 212 plus, it was a little less than a 50-50. Well, less than 50% chance for me to live that with Florges, so I was pretty fortunate. It came down to basically, it would have come down to 2 rolls, and I happened to get the first one, which was big. And I guess I outplayed with the Sucker Punches. I just went for Sucker Punch once, and it was the right one. I don't know if you would consider that outplaying. I had never even really considered Sucker Punch to be like outplaying it. I always consider it to be coin flips, because a lot of times even when I'm on ladder, I'll just flip a coin. If I get heads, I go for Sucker Punch. If I get tails, I don't go for Sucker Punch. And then if I'm the one taking the Sucker Punch, same thing. If it's heads, I assume they go for Sucker Punch. If it's tails, I assume they don't. So a lot of time what I will do, not all the time. In this case, I knew I wanted to click Sucker Punch because if they click Agility, okay, whatever. They're already faster than everything on my team. So I was willing to wait on a coin flip, at least one turn. But anyway, that was close. It was close. I'm not gonna lie. If 1 or 2 rolls did not go my way, I probably would have lost. So, fortunately, I didn't. So, that's good. What this tells me is I probably need to run some more attack on my Cinderace. I really like these bulky Cinderaces that are turning 2-hit KOs to 3-hit KOs and 1-hit KOs into 2-hit KOs. But, like we could have been in a less scary situation if I was a much higher attack Cinderace, and would have certainly killed that Latias with a Sucker Punch instead of kind of leaving it up to Florges to help out. So I will probably make notes of that. Drifblim kind of didn't do much for me, buddy. We're going to need to see some improvement. And Landorus didn't even come out. But I don't know. Maybe I should have got Landorus involved earlier. I don't know. There might have been a good spot for it at some point. Probably once. It's hard to say because I can't really rip Earth Powers in front of onto a Latias. And you never know with the Latias. You don't really want to switch into the Latias that much. Maybe if I still had like Empoleon left, I could have thrown some Sludge Waves out at some point, but I'm not sure. Yeah, well, no, this is a strong team. This is a strong player as well. They definitely made plays to win the game, and they were just that close to doing it. So I expect to see them in playoffs. I don't know if I will play them. That just depends on how the seeding works out. But uh, this is a strong contender, unlike some co-hosts that we sometimes have. And I'll leave off on that note.